Hey everyone, it's Ella here, and today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to be doing a sketchbook tour all by myself without Emily. So if you're interested in seeing that, stick around and welcome to Artsy Art. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So here you can see I went ahead and I put the date down. August 11th, 2018 was when I started this sketchbook. For some reason I scribbled out my name in it. I'm not really sure why, but it used to say, I guess, this book belongs to, and then my name. Here you can see I was trying to do a little bit of like style-ish drawing, so I was looking at a couple different people's art styles and trying to replicate it. I definitely think that I see some improvement in some places. The eyes are not even on this one, the profile and the hair on this one are just like a wreck. And I guess here I was trying to do a perspective drawing. Yeah, it looks like a bench of some sort that I never finished, and you'll probably see a lot of that. One unfortunate thing with this sketchbook is that the pages did tend to rub off on each other. You'll see here there's some blue from this drawing over here, which was just me messing around with colored pencils, and it looks like it got stained all over the place. This was some of my first attempts at trying to create my own little like cutesy cartoon style. I still like it. I draw that way from time to time. I like the big round ears. This was kind of a self-portrait at the time. My hair was a lot longer, as you can see. The body was super stiff though and weirdly proportioned, so I'm glad that I kind of got away from that. I was kind of doing like a style category study as well with Gravity Falls too, so kind of writing down some things that I noticed. So here you'll see I was doing some mannequin pose studies, and then here I was working, I think, on a character for a comic that I probably never did much else with. I have a bad habit of making characters and then never actually doing anything with them, so hopefully that's something that you'll see me improve on in the future. Oh, let's just not look at that. That was a unfinished sketch that I tried to erase that was really dark, and I couldn't quite get rid of it, but it just looked disgusting. So here is a drawing that I'm actually really proud of. My grandmother really liked this. She actually had it as like her phone background for a while. And don't worry everyone, this woman does have a dress on. It's kind of hard to tell, but this right here is her dress. It's like one of those ones with a really cut out back. But I like the way that the line art was done on this. There are some splotches of like smudgy bits, but again, I like it. And of course there's some bleeding through from the other page where I was swatching my Copic markers. But here I was trying to, again, work on my own style, so trying to create different ways of doing head shapes and eye shapes and different, like, just eyes in general, lips, everything, things to vary. That way that all my characters didn't look like carbon copies of each other, because I know that's something that I struggled with in the past and that I see a lot of other artists struggle with. And I would really like to go into character design creation and storyboarding. So for that kind of thing, you really need to make sure that your characters look distinct. So carrying on. So here are a couple drawings that I actually did for some friends. I'll twist it around a couple times. This is two of my friends who were together at the time, and they're not anymore, so it's kind of sad to look at that. Thankfully, I never finished the drawing, and it kind of worked out for the best then, because like they weren't together anymore. This was another drawing of a friend of mine, and I think this one was just a drawing for fun. Not positive on that one. It's kind of hard to remember back to some of this stuff. I'll go ahead and skip on through. This was another drawing in that like really cutesy cartoon character style. Not too much to it, just like a little sketch. You can see I never really draw the same direction for anything. And then here was my summer assignment for my art class. It was drawing hands. I actually had all of my little cousins, we were hanging out, and I asked them to pose in different positions for me so that I could draw their hands. And I actually had a lot of fun with it. Hands are something that I really struggle with. Can see here, so these are some of like my little cousin's hands. That one I tried to add a mouth to show like why the hand was positioned that way, but I don't know if I like the way that looks. And then I also did, it says here like woman's hands. These were my grandmother's hands because she was with us at the time. She was holding a cup of tea. So you can see there's like some more wrinkles and lines, and the knuckles are a little bit more distinct than they would be on a younger person's hands. She does a lot of cooking. I love my grandma, she's awesome. And then the other half of that assignment was to draw feet. So here I have some of my little cousin's feet. Again, feet, hands, not my forte. Looking back, the toes on that are really tiny. I think that one was my grandmother's foot, and then these were my cousin's feet, and these are my cousin's feet, which might explain why these ones are maybe a little bit more like rounded. I feel like the younger a person is, the more all of their features are just kind of rounded. Like if you look at babies' hands, they're kind of like small and chubby. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. And then here are the last of the feet. I did another date here. Don't really know why. I guess I was trying to give myself a little bit of a timeline. This drawing I really liked, even though it was small. This is my cat and me with my cat, and I actually took like a picture of that and cropped it down, and I used it for something, some kind of like a playlist cover for when I was making one, just for myself, for funsies. And then just some other like silly little warm-up sketches. I used to really enjoy drawing cats. Any of you who know me in real life know that I went through a really hardcore warrior cats phase in like intermediate middle school time. So a little callback to that. Here's another warm-up. This was definitely done in school. These are actually some better hands, I think, that I've drawn. But of course they're very simplistic. And then this was, I think, a rough drawing for a sketch, like working it out. The body proportions on this are not my favorite, especially the whole character kind of leans this way. The head's too big, the angles of everything, not my favorite thing. But you know. And here's another one. This stuff is all smudgied again, of course, on the next page, but you can see here, this was a drawing that I did. I think I started out with a girl, and then I wanted to give her a background. I was kind of just bored in my, I think, statistics class at the time. So that's what I did. This one was another sketchbook for school. I was being really lazy. The prompt was we had to draw like twigs, and I just wasn't having any of it. So I was super lazy and drew like 3 twigs and then just let the background be white. And I don't think my teacher was really happy about it, but I was like, I don't want to draw sticks. This was, again, unfortunately, there's transfer here on this drawing, but it was done for our homecoming, like, mural that we do every year. So basically we take, like, a giant tarp and we roll it out and we paint it. And I had the pleasure of designing the, tarp design for that. And our theme that year was Wizard of Oz, so I did the Emerald City. So that was the design for that there. And here's another one. I liked it at the time, using a lot of just like solid negative space. I think that if I redid it now as a digital drawing, it would probably look pretty cool. The proportions again on this are not the best. The hand, I don't know what's happening with that. The eyes are very far apart, which they definitely weren't on my reference model, and the lips are very itty bitty small. Which, like, none of those things in themselves are bad. You know, if you're a person who has wider set eyes or small lips, I have small lips. It's not like it's a bad thing, but I know what the reference model looked like, and that's not what she looked like, so it's like, not my favorite thing, but happens. Here, that's like a note from my teacher for the sketch that's on the next page. She did another warm-up with some more feet, and then this, I was just kind of doodling my friend in class. She always wore those like round glasses and had a really cute haircut, and I thought she was just like adorable, so I was like, hey, can I just sketch you? Because she's very like, I don't know, picturesque. So here was another sketch that we had to do. We had to do the contents of a purse spilling out, so, or like a bag of some sort. So there's like, you know, phone and some earbuds and lipstick and all that, and I swear it was more crisp around the time, but you can see like it's all smudged on this page and everything just gets blurred together. Here we have some more drawings. This one was actually for Inktober, and I don't think I ever posted it, even though I had it like ready to post, you know, and I kind of liked it. I don't really know why I didn't post it, probably just forgot about it. I've tried to do Inktober for the last 2 years, and every time I just get so caught up with everything else in my life that I forget. Unfortunately, October, the last several years with my extracurriculars in school, has been a super, super busy time, so I really didn't have time to focus on my art. So I'm actually really excited now that I'm not involved with those things anymore. Hopefully it'll give me more time to actually do Inktober. So now we get to one of my favorite sections in this whole sketchbook, and that's when I did a bunch of style studies. If you follow my Instagram, you've probably seen some of these already, but on this side here, I have a list of different styles that I wanted to look at. Some of them I ended up like crossing out because I felt like they were too similar or not distinct enough, or they were too broad, or they didn't have like good references, just various reasons. But you'll see the ones that I did, I ended up checking off. And some of them turned out better than others. Gravity Falls, of course, being a 2D animation, worked out really well. I'm also a huge fan of Gravity Falls, like absolutely love it. So I had a lot of fun with this. I think Grunkle Stand's probably my favorite there. I also really like doing pen sketches and just leaving them sketchy. I don't know, something about it feels very like fluid, dynamic. I'm not sure what to say. It just makes me think of storyboards, I guess, which is something that I really enjoy. So yeah, continuing on, I also did Tim Burton, and I did this, and then I was informed by someone that Coraline is not Tim Burton, so we just kind of like, just cross that out. It's just, boop, you know, don't look at it. But yeah, that's a very distinct style as well. Over here we have Steven Universe, which I probably am going to get some crap from anybody who watches Steven Universe. I've seen bits and pieces, I know the general plot, I know a lot of specific episodes, but I'm not someone who sat down and watched the whole show through. I keep meaning to, like I really, really mean to, but every time that I have free time, I either forget, or I get distracted with something else, like another show, or whatever, you know, you haven't. So this was me not really being a fan of something that a lot of people love and hoping that nobody hated me for drawing it. I know that Amethyst does not look that great in the face, but I think the body turned out okay. Same with Steven. Pearl was definitely my favorite out of the whole group, although her staff's kind of pointed weird, but I really enjoy Steven Universe because the body shapes are just so different on all of the characters. It's really cool to see a cartoon that has a super diverse cast, because a lot of times you get cartoons where all of, especially like the female characters, are almost like cut and pastes of each other. And I don't think that any two characters on the show that I've seen at least yet look anything alike. So I think that's really, really cool. Continuing on, oof, that's rough. Again, this is another one that's posted to my Instagram, Codename Kids Next Door. That was one of my absolute favorite shows growing up, and I really miss it. I'm hoping that it someday comes to like Netflix or something so that I can binge watch it again. Even though I'm sure it wouldn't hold up the same as it did when I was a kid, there was just something really fun about the super like wacky, zany adventures that everybody went on. And again, I think that it's cool because they have characters that definitely are very distinct in their looks. So here I have a style study that's supposed to be Marvel. It looks like trash. I'm not proud of it, and I'm gonna just keep scooting on by. Here I try to do How to Train Your Dragon, which is another like movie series that I'm super big fan of, but it is a like 3D cartoon movie. So because of that, it was kind of hard to transfer the characters into 2D and still give them the same look. I think Hiccup turned out okay. Astrid's face is a little bit off. Toothless, I think, turned out pretty good. I really like Toothless. He's adorable. He's just a big cat dragon, and I love dragons and I love cats, so like, how do you go wrong with that? You'll also see, and I forgot to point this out, I took notes all throughout, and you guys might have been reading them, but my handwriting's terrible, so if you were, good luck. But I took notes all throughout so that I could kind of remember things if I wanted to go back and reference these styles then. Here's another one, Charlie Brown. I don't think that any of those characters turned out as good as they could have. Charlie's head looks really funny in that one, and his body's kind of a weird proportion, and it all kind of looks a little goofy. But the point was just to get a general gist, not to get, you know, nitty-gritty, specific, beautiful, absolute, picture-perfect drawings, because if that was the case, then I could just go on to like Safari and Google an image and copy it like exactly. This was just kind of rough, sketchy stuff. And then here's the last of my style studies that I did, although I would like to go back to that. And it was the Flintstones. I think Fred turned out really good. Pebbles is a little off, and so are the other two ladies here. But other than that, I like doing that. It's definitely very cartoony, and I kind of miss some of this stylized stuff. Like, I wish some of this stuff would come back. But yeah, that was a lot of fun doing all those style studies. Now we have some more of just my own original stuff. This was me playing around with my markers. I usually say Copic markers. I've heard people say Copic and Copic, so I'm not really sure what the proper way to say it is. I'm going to say Copic for now and hope that I'm right. But yeah, here I am playing around with my Copic markers. I think this one's on my Instagram too. I don't mess around with them as much as I used to, and I kind of miss it sometimes. This is just a page where there's a lot of bleed through. I do have like a sketch here, but I never ended up doing anything with it. Same with that one over there. This one is also my Instagram. This one down here, I have issues sometimes with the markers, and that's one of the reasons that I haven't been using them as much, where they bleed like a lot into each other, and then it just screws up the whole drawing, and then I get mad and I'm like, I don't want to look at it anymore. So that's one of the examples of when that happened. And then here are some gross sketches that didn't look nice, so I didn't do anything with them. Here's some more just like general sketches, upside down, so I'll just flip it around real quick, looking at noses for some reason, and lips and eyes and postures and stuff. Noses are actually kind of fun to draw. I kind of like noses. Looking at profile views, I guess. I always used to make heads really, really circular and big. Here is a study of anatomy. Hopefully this isn't too scandalous for the channel. But that was a drawing from a photo reference. And if you don't like that kind of stuff, you might want to skip ahead, because there's going to be a couple of those here, maybe just like, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds. And here's another one like that. I really, really liked the way that this turned out. I thought that it looked really nice. I thought the anatomy turned out very well. I found that it's a lot easier to draw men who are very like defined in their body features, and I suppose same for women, but like with women I kind of have a leg up because I am a female, so I understand the anatomy a little bit better. I still struggle sometimes when drawing men, especially around like the torso area, because they have hips but they don't have hips, and their chests are bigger but yet their waists are smaller, so it's like, how does all of that work? Like, are you all just like triangles at the top? Which I know they're not, of course, but it confused me for a long time, and I've actually been working on doing an anatomy study to hopefully help me with that, but I still do tend to draw a lot more women than men. This here is actually a sketchbook assignment that is loose. I pulled it out of, I guess, one of these pages so that I could turn it in for a grade. Without leaving my whole sketchbook. I really liked the way that it turned out with this last panel here. The prompt was Battle Within, so I did a short comic book where you see a woman, I guess, struggling with like addiction to cigarettes and nicotine. And of course here at the end you kind of have like a skull design in the smoke to signify how not only is this like a struggle with herself, but she's kind of like battling against like her body, and you know, it's very addictive and destructive, and the carcinogens and everything. So that's that. Again, I really like this last image, and I don't think I posted this on my Instagram, so maybe I will then. This match looks kind of cool too. And this of course was also done with the Copic markers, which did bleed a little bit right here. And then here's some other kind of gross sketches, so I'm just gonna scooch on by. This was actually me taking some notes for an event that I was doing through one of my extracurriculars. I like this little sketch here. I had a bad habit, and I pulled some of those notes out where if I didn't have paper, I would just grab my sketchbook and I would take stuff down, because I doodle on everything that I write anyways, so it just kind of was like, yeah, this works. I also have the swatches of my Copic markers. I don't think this is all of them now. I got some more for Christmas, so I might have to update my sketches, or my swatches, but I have the numbers and letters that signify which ones they are by their names, by their swatches. Yeah. This was another character thing that I was working on that I don't think I ever did anything with, so I'll just skip on by. And then here I did, just for funsies, a 3 marker challenge with myself. So I took my markers and I closed my eyes and I swished them around and I pulled out 3 colors, and that's what I had to use. Looking back, I probably should have pulled black out because black's not really a color, but it's fine. Same with like the gray values, but oh well. So I've got like an alien lady, a sweater girl. This one's not Ariel. It might look like Ariel, but it's not Ariel. And yeah, they were kind of fun. Some of them turned out better than others, but they were fun overall. This one got, unfortunately, like a lot of bleeding into it. This one had like a fun glowy effect. I kind of liked that. I might try that again, but Copic markers can be very temperamental when it comes to highlights of different colors. I've struggled with that a lot in the past. Let me hear, we got a girl with a really cool bob. I always wanted a bob like that. Don't know if it would really look nice on my face. Got a little bit shorter hair than that now. Here's another piece that I'm proud of, even though, and again, I put my name down by it, but I don't think I ever put it up on my Instagram. I'm proud of it even though it's not the best. I see like the lips are a little funny, the profile's kind of weird, the neck's a little bit big, yada yada yada, but I did all of this with 2 markers and, well, 1 colored pencil, but 2 markers was the majority of this. And the way that it happened, I had gotten a little like pack of goodies from helping out a teacher with some stuff. It's like a thank you present, and she knew I liked art, so she picked up these 2 little markers that had like kind of a weird texture to them. They were almost chalky, which meant that they would blend with each other, as you can see all throughout here. And it was really interesting to mess around with. I don't know if any of you have ever worked with like the actual chalk markers, but it kind of reminded me of those a little bit. Or if when you're like really, really little and you get those tiny little packs of markers that come with like coloring books, and the markers have kind of like almost a felt tip that like falls apart as you're drawing with it. That's kind of what these were like, and that's how I did this whole drawing. So I was kind of proud of myself for that. And then here, I actually am going to continue with this comic, so enjoy a little bit of like, I don't know, a sneak preview, whatever. I haven't gotten like a name or too much with it, but basically it's a girl who is like super into like occult magic kind of stuff, and she wants to be able to see things that like normal people wouldn't see. So she uses this spell, but she accidentally messes it up and instead makes herself invisible. So she has to try to find a way to make herself visible again. But I wanted, and I don't know if it's going to go this way, I'm still in development, but my original idea was this girl is someone who isn't someone that people tend to pay attention to anyways in her usual life. So at first when she's invisible, she's like, this is kind of cool. Like, I kind of like this. I don't really have to interact with people. She wasn't somebody who liked interacting with people, probably very anxious, which is something that I can relate to. But I think she's going to realize after a while that even though life can be awkward sometimes, it's still worth living and interacting with other people and being able to make friends. So yeah, kind of a little bit of a Disney-esque plot, but I really like the way that this picture looks, and this one, and these 3. I thought those looked pretty cool. And then here I was also looking for another little comic thing, and I ended up scrapping the idea. I was like, eh, not good. And I think this was a continuation of one of these that I just never did anything with. Here's my attempt at drawing creepy things. I can't draw creeping things is what I've come to the realization of. I just don't have it in me. I'm a huge scaredy cat. I get super scared to go out by myself in the dark at night, or even like my coworkers pick on me if I'm working a late night shift and I have to walk to the freezer. I'll usually ask somebody to come with me because it's like you have to go through this dark hallway and then the freezer lights are off and you have to go this like super roundabout way to turn the lights on just to get back into the freezer. Then it's kind of annoying. And definitely when you're in a building that's basically empty, when you're used to it being super full of people, it's just weird and off-putting. So yeah, not one for creepy stuff. Here's some other just like little sketchy doodles, not really much there. Here's another one, Copic markers. It started to blend a lot, and after that I just kind of gave up, but it was going to be a little toddler and there's a fairy, woo! Not too much going on with that. Here's another sketchbook. I forget the prompt for this one, but I did it all with colored pencils, and it was running, I was running out of time. I procrastinated a little bit on it, and it's not the prettiest thing in the world, and I think my teacher knew that I really rushed on it, but I think he was nice about it anyways. Here is a sketch that I actually did like. We had to do leaves and twigs, so I went outside and I looked up at my tree and I tilted my camera basically so it was like facing the sky, like up like this way. And I took a picture from underneath the leaves and the tree, and this is what I got. So it's very strong shadows and highlights, and I think that it looks pretty cool. I was a little bit lazy on the textures of the leaves, to be quite honest, but I enjoyed doing the twig. I think that that turned out really well, and I don't think that the leaves turned out bad. They're just not as like lifelike as they could be. Here's another quick sketch of a lady on the floor. I don't know why she's on the floor. Maybe she's doing some stretches or something. I don't know. These were some colleges that I was looking at, checking about like transferring credits and stuff. Nothing too interesting there. And then this was just, I think this whole last page, yeah, it's just me swatching like markers and colored pencils and watercolor. So yeah, that is the whole sketchbook. Wow. I'm probably gonna look back at this video and be like, you talked so fast throughout the whole thing. But you know what? I'm a fast talker, and hopefully it'll be something that I can improve on in the future. But for the time being, that's just kind of where we're at. I hope you enjoyed the sketchbook tour, and I hope that you see an improvement in my art now from then, and I hope that I continue to improve, and hopefully a year or so from now I can take you on another sketchbook tour and we can just kind of have some fun looking at all of the sometimes good, mostly gross sketches that I do. Thank you so much if you stuck around to the end of the video, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!